You have been misreading women your entire life, and tonight that changes. It was never about whether she was interested. It was about whether you understood what interest actually looks like when a woman over 40 feels it. Because here is the truth that nobody tells you. Initial disinterest is not a verdict. It is a question. And the question she is asking, silently, every time she seems distant, is this: are you the kind of man who understands what I actually need? This was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. Not your father, not your friends, not the culture you grew up in. You were handed a script that said attraction is instant, obvious, and either there or not. That script was wrong. And by the end of this video, you will understand something that changes everything. Something about what happens in the third or fourth interaction. Something about silence, stillness, and the emotional weight of a man who does not chase. Stay for that. Because that single shift creates more desire than a decade of trying harder ever could. If this is your first time here, welcome. This channel exists for one reason: to give men the psychological insight they were never taught. The kind of understanding that transforms how women experience you. Not tricks, not games, real human psychology explained with depth and care. If that resonates, subscribe, because what you learn here will follow you into every conversation, every room, every moment of connection for the rest of your life. Let me tell you what actually happens when a woman seems uninterested, because this is where most men get it completely wrong. Psychologists have studied this for decades. Dr. Helen Fisher at Rutgers University discovered something fascinating about the female brain and attraction. Unlike the male brain, which often decides quickly based on visual cues, the female brain evaluates over time. It watches. It waits. It gathers information across multiple interactions. Her initial response to you is not her final answer. It is her first data point. And what she is measuring, what she is truly evaluating, is not your appearance or your words. It is your emotional steadiness, your internal stability, whether you remain grounded when she does not immediately warm to you. This is not manipulation. This is not a game. It is how real human connection works. A woman can sense the difference between genuine presence and performance. And what draws her in, what makes her feel safe enough to open emotionally, is the quality of your attention over time. Not intensity, not pursuit, attention. Most men, when they sense disinterest, do one of two things. They either try harder, becoming more eager, more available, more obvious in their interest, or they withdraw entirely, protecting their ego, disappearing before she can reject them fully. Both responses fail, because both responses communicate the same thing: that her initial reaction controls your emotional state, that you are reactive rather than grounded, that your sense of self depends on her approval. Here is what the men who naturally attract women understand. Her initial disinterest is not a wall, it is a filter. And the filter is designed to separate men who perform confidence from men who actually possess it. The filter is designed to reveal whether you can hold your center when things are uncertain. Imagine this. You meet her at a mutual friend's dinner party. She is warm to others but slightly cool toward you. Not rude, just reserved. She answers your questions but does not ask any back. Most men would read this as rejection. Most men would either overperform to win her attention or quietly accept defeat and move on. But you are not most men. You do something different. You remain exactly as you were. Warm, but not eager. Present, but not pursuing. You continue the conversation for another minute, genuinely interested in what she is saying, and then you naturally turn your attention elsewhere. Not as a tactic, not as punishment, simply because you are a complete person with your own center of gravity. You do not need her approval to feel good about yourself. This is about understanding and respect, not control or manipulation. What happens next is psychology, pure and simple. Her brain registers something unexpected. You did not chase. You did not withdraw wounded. You remained steady. And that steadiness triggers a neurological response that Dr. Fisher calls the dopamine attraction loop. Uncertainty combined with emotional stability creates curiosity, and curiosity, in a woman's mind, is the first stage of genuine desire. Let me give you the first key that unlocks this. I call it the weight of stillness. Most men talk too much when they feel nervous. They fill silence because silence feels like failure. They ask question after question, hoping something will land. They perform energy, hoping she will match it. But women experience this differently than men do. Research from UCLA's Social Cognitive Neuroscience Lab found that women evaluate emotional safety through non-verbal cues more than through words. And the most powerful non-verbal cue is this: your ability to be still without being uncomfortable. When you can sit in a pause without rushing to fill it, her nervous system reads something profound. It reads safety. It reads that you are not performing, that you do not need her reaction to feel okay, that you are solid ground she could lean into if she chose to. Imagine this. You are having coffee with her, maybe the second time you have spent time together. She says something and then trails off. There is silence. Most men would jump in immediately, would ask another question, would make a joke to break the tension. But you hold the silence for 3 full seconds. You look at her calmly. You take a sip of your coffee. You let the moment exist. In those 3 seconds, something shifts in her chest. Not consciously, not logically, but her body begins to relax in your presence. She begins to associate you with a feeling she rarely experiences with men, the feeling of not having to perform, of not having to fill the space, of being able to simply exist next to someone who is already complete. This works because it honors something deep in feminine psychology: the need to feel seen without being grabbed at, the need to feel wanted without being pressured, the need to trust that the man in front of her has control of himself. The second key is something I call the curious withdrawal. This is not about playing games. None of this works without genuine care for the person in front of you. But there is a difference between desperation and discernment. Desperation clings. Discernment evaluates. When a woman seems uninterested, most men either pursue harder or disappear completely. But there is a third option. You can remain interested in her as a human being while genuinely evaluating whether she is someone you would want to invest in. This shifts the entire dynamic. Because now you are not trying to win her over, you are trying to understand her. And that shift changes how she experiences you. A woman in her late 40s shared something with me recently at a social gathering that perfectly captures this. She said, "The men who chase me feel exhausting, and the men who disappear feel like boys who cannot handle rejection. But there was this one man," she paused. "He was different. He stayed warm, stayed present, but I could tell he was deciding about me too. Not performing interest, actually deciding, and I could not stop thinking about him." That is the curious withdrawal. You remain engaged, but you are evaluating. You are genuinely curious about who she is beneath the surface. But you are not invested in a particular outcome. You are complete either way. And that completeness, that centered quality, is felt by her in every interaction. What I am about to share next is something most people in this field will not say publicly, because it requires admitting something uncomfortable about how attraction actually works. There is a moment in every interaction where a woman decides whether you are safe enough to feel attracted to. And that moment has almost nothing to do with what you say. It has everything to do with how you respond when things do not go perfectly. The third key is called the steady return. Here is what this means. When she tests you, and she will test you, your response determines everything. A test might look like a dismissive comment, a moment of coldness, a sudden shift in energy, a question designed to see how you will react. Most men fail these moments instantly. They either become defensive, which communicates insecurity, or they become apologetic, which communicates that they need her approval to feel okay, or they become aggressive, which communicates that they lack emotional control. But the steady return looks different. When she pushes, you do not push back. You do not retreat. You simply remain. Your energy stays exactly the same. Your warmth does not increase to compensate. Your availability does not decrease to punish. You are simply present, steady, unchanged. Imagine this. She makes a slightly dismissive comment about something you said. Maybe she rolls her eyes. Maybe she says, "That is a strange thing to think." Most men would scramble, would try to explain themselves, would either double down defensively or backtrack completely. But you do something different. You smile slightly. Not a nervous smile, not a placating smile. A smile that says you heard her, you acknowledge her reaction, and you remain exactly who you are. You might say, "Maybe," and then you continue talking, or you let the silence rest completely unbothered. In that moment, something extraordinary happens in her psychology. The part of her brain scanning for threat, the part evaluating your stability, registers something rare. She pushed, and you did not topple. She tested, and you did not crack. You did not perform strength, you simply were strong. If your intention is not honest, none of this will work. Women sense everything. They feel the difference between a man who is steady because he has done the inner work and a man who is performing steadiness as a technique. This is not about acting, it is about becoming. The fourth key goes deeper. I call it the emotional echo. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of creating genuine desire. Most men think attraction is about being impressive, about demonstrating value, about showing her what they have accomplished, what they own, what they can provide. But research from Dr. Arthur Aaron at Stony Brook University revealed something that changes everything. Emotional resonance creates attraction more powerfully than any external factor. What does emotional resonance mean? It means she feels felt by you. It means when she shares something, even something small, you hear what she is actually saying beneath the words. You acknowledge the emotion underneath, not in an exaggerated way, not in a therapist way, but in a way that communicates, "I see you, I understand." Imagine this. She mentions that she has been tired lately. Work has been overwhelming. Most men would respond with advice. "You should try to sleep more," or with comparison. "Yeah, I have been busy too," or with dismissal. "At least you have a job." But the emotional echo sounds different. You pause for a half second, you look at her, and you say something like, "That sounds heavy. Carrying that much gets exhausting." That is it. No advice, no comparison, no dismissal, just acknowledgement of what she is actually feeling. And in that acknowledgement, she experiences something rare. The feeling that she does not have to explain herself, that you already understand, that being with you is not work. This communicates something profound. This communicates, "I see you, I trust you." Not through grand gestures, through small moments of genuine attention. Remember, this is about understanding and respect, not techniques to get something from her, but skills to become the kind of man who naturally draws women in because he genuinely cares about understanding them. The fifth key is called the forward lean, and this might be the most important one, because it addresses the moment where desire is either created or lost. There comes a point in every developing connection where she needs to know you actually want her, where steadiness must be balanced with clear intention, where being centered must be met with being direct. Because a man who is all stability and no pursuit eventually feels like a man who does not actually want her. He feels safe, but not desirable. He feels comfortable, but not exciting. The forward lean is the moment where you communicate desire without desperation, where you show interest without neediness, where you reach toward her without grabbing. This is the balance that most men never find. They are either too eager, which feels suffocating, or too distant, which feels cold. The forward lean is neither. Imagine this. You have had several interactions. She is warming to you. The initial coolness has thawed. You sense a shift in how she looks at you, how she lingers in conversation. This is the moment most men fumble. They either rush too fast, overwhelming her with sudden intensity, or they wait too long, letting the moment pass until she assumes they are not actually interested. The forward lean sounds like this. You are in the middle of conversation. There is a brief pause. You look at her directly, warmly, and you say, "I have really enjoyed getting to know you. I would like to take you to dinner." Simple, clear, direct. No excessive explanation, no nervous justification, no question marks at the end of statements. You state what you want. You make your interest known. And then you let her respond however she will respond. Her answer matters less than what you communicated in that moment. You communicated that you are a man who knows what he wants, that you are not afraid to be direct, that your interest in her is real, not something she has to guess at. There is a deeper truth underneath all of this, and this is where most advice in this field fails. The real question is not how to make a woman desire you. The real question is, who do you need to become so that desire is natural? Because here is what I have learned after years of studying human psychology and connection. The techniques mean nothing without the foundation, and the foundation is this: a man who has faced himself, a man who has done the internal work to become genuinely grounded, a man who does not need external validation to feel complete, a man who can hold space for a woman's full experience because he has learned to hold space for his own. Most men will never hear this. They will spend their lives bouncing between desperate pursuit and wounded withdrawal, between trying too hard and giving up too easily. They will never understand that the thing women actually respond to cannot be performed. It can only be embodied. But you are here, and that tells me something about you. You are not looking for tricks. You are looking for understanding. You are not trying to manipulate anyone. You are trying to become the kind of man who naturally draws people in, who creates safety simply by being present, who can hold uncertainty without crumbling, who can move toward what he wants without grasping. That kind of man is rare, and women feel his presence the moment he enters a room. The journey to becoming that man is not fast. It is not easy. It requires facing the parts of yourself you would rather avoid. It requires developing emotional resilience through practice, not performance. It requires being honest about your fears, your patterns, your tendencies to react rather than respond. But every step on that journey makes you more magnetic than any technique ever could. Think back to what we discussed today. The weight of stillness. Being able to exist in silence without filling it. The curious withdrawal. Remaining interested while genuinely evaluating. The steady return. Staying grounded when she pushes. The emotional echo. Helping her feel felt. And the forward lean. Communicating desire directly without desperation. None of these are tricks. All of them are qualities. Qualities that can be developed. Qualities that transform not just how women experience you, but how you experience yourself. I want you to do something for me. In the comments below, type the word grounded. Just that one word. It lets me know this landed for you, and it reminds you of what you are building. Not a persona, not a performance, but genuine groundedness. Because here is what comes next. In the next video, I am going to share something that most channels will never discuss. The 3 moments in every relationship where a woman decides whether to stay or leave. These are moments most men never even notice. But once you understand them, you will see relationships completely differently. That video is coming soon. Subscribe so you do not miss it.